Hello again. Okay, so we're going to talk about earnings per share. Reading through, again, chapter 2 in finance, you're going to find that there's a lot of information about earnings per share. And again, turning to the page, sorry, I have to get my book. Turning to page 26. 26 has an example of every number that we're going to be talking about in earnings per share. But I created my own examples because I want to make sure you're prepared, and I like to give examples that are pretty similar to what you're going to be working through. So where this video is listed, below it, there is going to be the information for the problem for my example. This is Deb's Food Company. But they give an example. If you look at this income statement on the top of page 26, they talk about all of the calculations that they've already made. They've already broken down your earnings per share information. So when we get to calculating earnings per share, we're going to need some specific information. In our examples, you don't have to really worry about common stock versus preferred. But if you take a look at page 26, that's right here in front of me, sorry, you'll see that you do in the real world. In our examples, they don't too often give you preferred stock. But in this particular example, they do. They say our earnings after taxes, which is the first number that we really utilize off that. Our earnings per taxes here, or after taxes, are $110,500. And then they give you preferred stock dividends number of $10,500. So because our preferred stock is paid first, we have to subtract that number. So if you take the $110,500 and subtract the $10,500, that gives you your common stock. So if you have 100,000 and divide it by the common shares outstanding, I know this is a lot, but I'm going to show you on the board really quickly so that you have an example to do for your homework. So that is, let's just get to it. I just wanted to show you that. And so if you're reading through the textbook and you look at it and say, well, why is this preferred reduced? Preferred stock is always paid out first. So that doesn't really stay with us. So you have to take that number out first. So in our example, all right, in our example, it says, and again, you get this information right down below. You may want to print out that first or do whatever. Deb's Food Company had earnings after taxes of $300,000 in 2012 with 205,000 shares outstanding. See, in our problems, it gives you every one of the numbers that you really need. On January 1st, 2013, the firm issued 20,000 new shares. So we're going to have to add that a little bit later. And then our earnings after taxes increased from year 1 to year 2 by 30%. So if we're to look at all these numbers, and after you're done reading and you're looking and say, oh my gosh, what the heck do I do with these numbers? So our very first calculation here is what we call earnings per share. We're calculating it. So in order to get our earnings per share information, that is simply our earnings after taxes divided by our shares outstanding. So earnings after taxes, that's just abbreviations, earnings after taxes divided by our shares outstanding. So let's take the information that we have here. We have 300,000 shares. So let's do the math. We have 300,000 shares, and it says we have 205,000 shares outstanding. 205,000 shares outstanding. So if you take that 300,000, you divide it by 205,000, you should get $1.46. That is your earnings per share. That's what I'm saying. The book has got pages upon pages about this, but if we just break it down into simple formulas and we have those numbers, we can see that it's really quite simple. It's just a division to get you your earnings per share. A little bit more work on the second one, but not really too much. It's not really all that bad. So that is that is the A, the part year 2012. That is complete. Your earnings per share, the answer to that question is $1.46. Now, to calculate year 2013, we're gonna have to do a little bit more work because we say we've increased it by 30%, right? So 30% back to Math 101, 30% with a multiplication. All that is a multiplier in here. So all you're doing is multiplying your 300,000. So the first portion of this is what we call getting our earnings after taxes. So trying to find our earnings after taxes is simply taking the 300,000 and we are multiplying it by that 1.30. We're taking this multiplied by the 30%. So it's 300,000 times 1.30, and that should get you $390,000. So just stick with me. Earnings after taxes is going to be this is my earnings after taxes number. It's increased by 30%. 30% times itself, it's 1.30 equals 390,000. The second part is that shares outstanding part. Remember, we've added 20,000 more shares now, right? So we started out, so this is what we call shares outstanding. So we started here in year 2012 with 205,000, but it says we've added 20,000 new shares. So all you're doing is adding here. 205,000 plus 20,000 is, of course, 225,000. Now to get your earnings per share, you're doing the same thing you did up here. You're taking your earnings after taxes and dividing them by your shares outstanding. So now you've got different numbers. 390,000 divided by 225,000 should come up on your calculator of 1.73. So $1.73. I'll also put this information on your Canvas so that you can see it in written form in case you just don't want to listen to my voice 3 or 4 times when you go through it. So that's as basic as your homework gets for the earnings per share portion. You're literally taking the data they give you, your earnings after taxes, divided by your shares outstanding, which will get you your earnings per share. That's what we're looking for. You do the same thing here, but all you're really doing is multiplying it by 30% or 1.30 because it's of itself, and you are taking the 205 shares that you had originally. It said you purchased 20,000 more shares, so you have to add those in. That'll be your denominator. Do the division, and you've got 1.73. So your answers for this problem for year 1, 2012 is 146, and for year 2, 2013 is $1.73. So I hope that makes sense. If not, I'll share it again on paper for Canvas. I will have a Word document that shows you all the work that I did so you can look it over and say, what the heck did she do? If you have any questions and you've watched the videos and you've read through it, let me know. Bye guys, next time, see ya.